topic that I've chose to research is gender roles and stereotypes and how they affect the way people live their everyday lives. The purpose is to show that gender roles and stereotypes affect the way that people have to live their lives. Imagine waking up each day knowing exactly how you're supposed to feel, think, and behave just because of your gender. Society has created an invisible framework for generations, or a set of rules that we follow without ever questioning. This topic is relevant because it is something that goes on in our everyday lives. It happens to everyone of all races and genders, and it is something that society has to put to an end. Gender roles and stereotypes are an issue that has shaped our society for years. I will touch on how gender, race, and sexuality change the way that people have to live their lives. Everyone's portrayed differently in society based on their intersections. In other words, certain gender roles and stereotypes can change the amount of opportunities or chances that one is able to obtain. The first type of stereotype that I'll touch on is race. In society, racism or racial stereotypes are a huge issue. They can change the way that people are able to live their lives. An article titled "The Construction of Racial Stereotypes and How They Serve as Racial Propaganda" state, racial stereotypes as propaganda that have historically functioned to support oppressive societal systems in the U.S. by both A, shaping public perceptions and exceptions, and B, influencing the thoughts and behavior of others, of members of stereotyped groups. This quote talks about racial stereotypes as something that supports the societal system to give those of a different race less opportunities, or makes them look like a bad person. Racial stereotypes show up mostly towards Black/African American people. Racial stereotypes are not the only type that show up in society, though. The other type of stereotypes that show up in society are sexuality stereotypes. These are thoughts or beliefs that put people down just because they have different sexualities than straight. According to Hancock, numerical occupational segregation by sexual orientation has existed for decades. This quote talks about segregation by sexual orientation in the workplace. A lot of people have hate towards non-straight people, and it causes them to not be able to progress in their jobs. It also causes for them to even obtain the jobs in the first place. A lot of companies won't even look towards those people because they aren't straight people. I know it doesn't sound right, and it's not right. After lots of research, sexuality stereotypes make it very uncomfortable for non-straight people to even work at certain companies. A lot of them aren't able to feel comfortable in the jobs that they're working. They don't want to show up to work just because people have hate towards them. The final topic that I want to cover is gender. Out of race, sexuality, and gender is the biggest stereotype that affects society. For instance, this article says, many gender-related barriers and biases have declined over the years, but gender stereotypes continue to create problems in the progress of women's careers. The availability of opportunities for the career progressions of women continue to be negatively affected by gender stereotypes, which shape managerial behavior and occupational outlooks in the workplace with patriarchal expectations. This article talks about the struggles that women go through in the workplace. They often struggle to progress in their careers because they are looked down upon and seen as not as smart as males in their job. Also, males surrounding them don't hold them to the same level of accountability that other males in their job are held to. This article also talks about the think manager, think male mindset. This refers to the belief that good managers naturally have the qualities that are associated with males, these being leaders, people to look up to, more confrontational, better at their jobs, when in reality, none of these are true. In the real world, obviously these are all false beliefs, but it is a belief that occurs, and it truly affects the career progressions of women. There are three main ways that intersectionality relates to gender roles and stereotypes, these being inequality between race, gender, and sexuality, that all lead to lack of opportunities in society. The beliefs of gender roles and stereotypes in our society are a serious issue and need to be put to a halt. Some solutions for this issue could be taking a deeper look into the current and future laws/policies that may affect the way that gender roles and stereotypes are enacted. This could be through sex education in schools, gender-changing surgery bans, hormone bans, and even bans on gender pay gap. Overall, I want to look into possible ways to make it more fair and equal so that intersections don't have such a huge impact on people's lives today.